What is co-teaching? According to Marilyn Friend and the Canal Winchester School, co-teaching is a type of information delivery system that includes two or more professionals sharing responsibility for a group of students in the same classroom. That sounds like a lot, so let's break it down. First, co-teaching is a type of information delivery system. This means that co-teaching is a strategy used in a classroom to teach material. Many co-taught classrooms include students with disabilities that are entitled to learning the classroom material just as much as other students. Next, co-teaching involves two or more professionals sharing the responsibility for a group of students. Most often, one partner is a general educator and the other is a special education teacher. Both teachers work together to share the responsibility of the classroom. Both teachers plan the instruction, assess the students, and implement classroom management techniques. This can sometimes be a misconception with co-teaching because many people see it only as one person teaches and the other helps. The final component of co-teaching is pretty self-explanatory. Co-teaching occurs in the same classroom.
Many people associate co-teaching with Marilyn Friend. Dr. Marilyn Friend has been in classrooms her entire career as a general educator and a special education teacher. Dr. Friend is now the chairperson of the Department of Specialized Education Services at the University of North Carolina at Greensboro. Friend has written many books and articles about special education and co-teaching. She continues to travel internationally to help people learn about co-teaching and how to implement this strategy in classrooms. Marilyn Friend's biography and other helpful information about co-teaching can be found at www.marilynfriend.com.
The Connecticut State Education Resource Center has laid out the 6 well-known approaches to co-teaching. They are 1 Teach, 1 Observe, 1 Teach, 1 Assist, Station Teaching, Parallel Teaching, Alternative Teaching, and Team Teaching. We'll look into each one of these individually.
The first approach to co-teaching is 1 Teach, 1 Observe. 1 Teach, 1 Observe is exactly what you would expect it to be. One teacher leads the class and teaches to the whole group. While this is occurring, the other teacher is observing and collecting data about student comprehension. Sometimes it is hard for one teacher to be able to see which students understand and which need more clarification. The second teacher in 1 Teach, 1 Observe is like a second pair of eyes. After the lesson is over, both teachers discuss what has been observed.
Another approach to co-teaching is 1 Teach, 1 Assist. In this co-teaching model, both teachers are a little more involved. Again, one teacher is teaching the whole class alone. While this happens, the second teacher drifts around the classroom helping individual students when needed. Both of these models do not require very much planning between the co-teachers because only one teacher is primarily responsible for delivering the lesson. A strength to 1 Teach, 1 Assist is that it gives the proper support to the students who need it most. The assisting teacher gets to help the students who need it while still being able to move around the room to help others. A challenge to this method of co-teaching might be that the students could question the authority of the assisting teacher. To avoid this problem, the teachers could switch roles between teaching and assisting consistently. Next is station teaching. This co-teaching approach involves a little more planning because both teachers are teaching portions of a full lesson. In this approach, the co-teachers split the material to be taught into 2 sections. Then, Person A teaches his half to a portion of students while Person B teaches to the other portion of the class. Then, they switch and repeat the process. At the end of the lesson, the whole class has received both pieces of information. This technique is beneficial because it breaks the student-to-teacher ratio into a more manageable amount and allows more one-on-one time. The next approach, parallel teaching, is similar.
Parallel teaching also requires planning, as both teachers are involved in the teaching process. The co-teachers work together to plan an entire lesson. Then they split the class in half, and each teacher gets half of the students to work with. This is beneficial because it allows students to work in smaller groups and get more attention from the teacher. According to Friend and Cook, in an article they wrote called Co-Teaching, Guidelines for Creating Effective Practices, it also allows the teacher to easily monitor student progress because there is a smaller student-to-teacher ratio. A challenge of parallel teaching is to remember that the general education teacher and the special education teacher should be teaching the same material in the same amount of time. As long as this is done, the students will know exactly the same subject matter.
The fifth approach is alternative teaching. In alternative teaching, one teacher works with a small group of students and the other teaches the rest of the class. The two groups do not learn the same material because a small group is pulled away to learn a different level of material. This technique can be used with students with disabilities or gifted students. Co-teachers must be careful to not place a stigma on students with exceptionalities by pulling them into the small group every time alternative teaching is used. Teachers should be sure to make heterogeneous groups to have different ability levels in both groups.
The last approach is what most people think of when imagining co-teaching. In team teaching, both teachers present the lesson to the full class. Team teaching involves a lot of planning because both educators must collaborate to plan and teach the lesson together. Team teaching is very beneficial because both teachers teach the whole class and share their individual teaching styles and expertise with the students to help them grasp the information. A challenge to team teaching, though, is that both teachers need to be on the same page, and it requires a lot more planning and commitment to be able to teach the students in this way.
A handout produced by St. Cloud State University stressed that it is important to remember that these approaches do not have to be used in order or even in the same lesson. Sometimes, students learn best when using one or a combination of co-teaching techniques. Studies done by Washington Co-Teach have shown that co-teaching has been used in all grade levels and all subject matters. When used correctly, co-teaching can be an effective instructional tool.
Even though co-teaching is a great technique to use, many teachers may be leery about sharing a classroom with another professional. What if our teaching styles don't match? What if we have conflicting opinions? Or what if I like to do it my way? These are all valid questions educators may want answered before beginning a co-teaching partnership. So how can you be a good co-teacher, and what are some guidelines you should keep in mind? Dr. Friend stresses the fact that communication is perhaps most important in co-teaching. Both professionals in a co-teaching relationship need to share the workload and responsibility. In order to do this, both teachers need to communicate about teaching styles, ideas, and concerns. The pair should meet regularly to reflect on previous lessons and plan ahead for the future. In 2008, the journal Teaching Exceptional Children published 50 Ways to Keep Your Co-Teacher, which includes many strategies for co-teaching. One strategy suggests co-teachers prepare students to be co-taught. Many students are not familiar with having more than one teacher in a classroom, and new rules and regulations may need to be implemented. Teachers should have patience with their students, as this is a transitional period for everyone. Another step to preparing to co-teach is to talk about grading with your co-teacher before it becomes an issue. Establishing a system for grading will create a lot less stress in the long run.
A similar article describes the importance of having a problem-solving plan. Co-teachers need to work together and compromise in order to keep an effective classroom. When conflicts arise, both professionals need to act appropriately to solve the conflict. The NEA encourages co-teachers to take risks in the classroom. In case a new technique does not go well, there are two teachers who can pull the lesson back together rather than just one. Co-teachers can often learn new techniques from each other, so don't be afraid to try something new.
There has been a lot of research done on co-teaching, but does it actually work? An article written by Dr. Papa Mahil at the University of North Carolina, Wilmington, concludes that co-teaching has a strong positive effect in reading and language arts classes. The same study found a moderate effect in mathematics. A study done by 2 college professors was reviewed in the International Journal of Special Education. This study asked students in 7th and 8th grade questions about their co-taught classrooms. Both ages of students explained that they liked having 2 teachers because it cut down on the normal wait time for the students. Overall, students concluded that co-teaching allows students who needed help to get it. A similar study done by the Middle School Journal had students fill out a questionnaire that ranked responses on a 1 to 5 scale. The majority of students decided that they enjoyed coming to class, felt they could ask for help, and even learn more than in a typical non-co-taught classroom.
Co-teaching is a widely used and ever-growing technique in the classroom. Co-taught classrooms usually take one of 6 forms:
One teach, one observe,
One teach, one assist, station teaching,
parallel teaching,
alternative teaching,
and team teaching. Co-teachers need to have excellent communication skills in order to work effectively in the classroom. When used correctly, co-teaching has the ability to help every learner in the classroom reach his or her full potential.